I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site. Is something going on with the American shopper? Another major retailer has disappointing sales.
I'm Remy Blair in San Francisco. Biotech names are seeing wild swings on the latest FDA announcements. See what the decisions mean for lung cancer treatment.
Welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Dillard's says that profit in the latest quarter fell more than expected on disappointing sales performance, making it the latest retailer to post results that disappointed Wall Street. Better performance in shoes, juniors, and children's apparel, cosmetics, and ladies' apparel was dragged down by weakness in men's apparel and accessories, ladies' accessories, and lingerie, while Dillard said it saw notable weakness in home and furniture. Dillard's joins Nordstrom, Macy's, and Walmart, which have all warned about sluggish sales, leading some to worry about if this holiday shopping season will be a dud. Well, PMC Sierra said it has rejected Microsemi's unsolicited buyout bid, saying it will stick with the previously agreed-on merger deal with Skyworks Solutions. PMC said in a statement that given the recent stock market volatility, Skyworks' all-cash bid provides more value certainty to PMC shareholders than Microsemi's stock and cash bid. Well, Media General says it will open discussions with Nexstar Broadcasting Group regarding Nexstar's unsolicited buyout bid launched in late September. The TV station operator said its board has unanimously rejected Nexstar's bid, saying it significantly undervalues the company, but it will engage in private negotiations with the company. Okay, lots of small cap companies making news today. Here's a rundown. Blue Hills Bancorp was named by Barron's to be a bargain relative to its peers. Barron's also weighed in on Columbia Banking, which is up 19% in the last year. Genesee and Wyoming could rise more than 20% if the company makes acquisitions. According to Barron's, Biopharma Calabos says that it plans to wind down its operations. Third Point is exiting its stake in Sun Edison. Timken Steel suspended its current quarter dividend. American Capital stock surged after Paul Singer's Elliott Fund disclosed a large stake in the company. Well, Textron is betting a new business jet, Cessna. This is a company that is the parent company of Cessna, and it's coming up with the Cessna Citation Hemisphere jet. It will join a parade of plush new planes with larger cabins that are able to skip between continents. But tough market conditions have forced some rivals to cut production or cancel aircraft programs altogether. The Hemisphere is projected to cost between $30 million and $34 million.
I'm Patricia Wu at the Salomon Biotech Conference in New York City. Hear what experts in the space have to say about the investment climate and the opportunities in the growing life science industry.
In fact, we're about to head into a second stage of innovation. And I think people have been watching biotech the last 3 years in the market, and the publicly traded securities have done very well. You know, in 2012, biotech was up over 30%, the next year over 60, last year over 30. This year, still only up about 7% because we've had a little bit of frothiness, you know, as is understandable when people see a way to make money. But I think what's happened is a normal pullback and people start to reevaluate, and I think you've got to be much more selective going forward. But we are on the cusp of huge innovation and change. For instance, there are some 200 new product launches scheduled over the next 5 years, and these are in the specialty pharmaceutical, so-called orphan drug area, with another, believe it or not, 900 in development right now. And this is in every area from genomics to regenerative medicine to immunotherapy and cancer, all these things that we're reading about, but it's real, it's very sustainable. But like anything else, you have to check valuation. Now, the thing that's been interesting and different this last few years, as someone who's invested in biotech, you know, for some 20 years, it used to be that you would only invest after phase 2, phase 3 trials because it was so risky before then. You could lose all your money. Now, some of the results are so compelling that you're seeing people, investors, institutional professional investors, investing after phase 1 because the results have been so compelling, and in some cases suggesting even cures. So it's a very, very different time. But again, you have to be very, very careful and understand the company and their innovation.
For more on the Salomon Biotech Conference, go to smallcapnation.com.
A big pharma getting a boost in the market after their cancer drug is approved. What this means for patients and investors when Small Cap Nation returns.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So hat-trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're gonna stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
The FDA approved AstraZeneca's new lung cancer pill. Shares of the company are posting a strong advance. Now, what are the implications for the industry?
Hi Jane, this is one multi-billion-dollar biopharma name with solid strategies. The FDA approved Tagrisso for lung cancer treatment. Now the approval was based on data from 411 patients in 2 single-arm studies. Tagrisso is one of several cancer medicines that should boost sales for the pharma company following patent losses on its older drugs. Last year, during its defense against a takeover attempt by Pfizer, AstraZeneca said it believed Tagrisso could sell as much as $3 billion a year. Now, the company has been busy on the buyout front. Last week, AstraZeneca acquired ZS Pharma for $2.7 billion. ZS Pharma is a biopharma company based in San Mateo, California. And this transaction is expected to improve AstraZeneca's treatment for cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. This deal comes at a time when the British drug maker is set to lose U.S. exclusivity for its cholesterol treatment Crestor in 2016. Now, the deal is expected to close by the end of this year.
What about the small cap names that haven't been scooped up? It's a different ballgame for the smaller companies out there with fewer R&D dollars.
You're right, Jane. Licensing agreements and collaborations with big pharma are important for the smaller names. Take a look at Innovio Pharma. This small cap is a DNA-based cancer immunotherapy and infectious disease vaccine developer. It recently reported strong third-quarter earnings boosted by a payment from DARPA for its Ebola research. In terms of Innovio's bottom line, the company reported an actual profit that topped forecasts. Also, Innovio had $50 million in recognized revenue from its collaborative agreement with AstraZeneca's MedImmune for the development of INO-3112. Now, Innovio also has a licensing deal in place with Roche for the development of INO-1800, the company's hepatitis B candidate. And separately, Oncology is a biotech company that develops therapeutic approaches to cancer management. Shares are off today, but holding at monthly highs. Now, this company's lead product candidate, Stimuvax, is a cancer vaccine being evaluated in 2 phase 3 clinical trials for the treatment of non-small cell lung cancer. It has granted worldwide license to Merck for the development, manufacture, and commercialization of Stimuvax.
Well, this is a competitive and costly space, both for big and small pharma. Are there any other biotechs in the space worth noting?
Well, it's always the collaborations that are worth watching. Peregrine Pharmaceuticals recently expanded its ongoing cancer immunotherapy clinical collaboration with AstraZeneca to include a second later stage trial. The companies will now also evaluate the immunotherapy combo of Peregrine's bevacizumab and AstraZeneca's anti-PD-L1 immune checkpoint inhibitor in a global phase 2 study. The randomized trial will be conducted by Peregrine. Now, this new study builds on the non-exclusive collaboration initiated between the companies in August of this year to conduct a phase 1 clinical trial that evaluates the combo of drugs with chemotherapy in multiple solid tumors.
After the tragic events in Paris, how are the European markets looking on this Monday? We take you to Paris for perspective next on Small Cap Nation.
Good. Very good. You see something moving off the shelves, and your first thought is to investigate the company. You are Type E. Yes, investment opportunities can be anywhere. Or not. But you know the difference.
E-Trade's barcode scanner. Shorten the distance between intuition and action. E-Trade. Opportunity is...
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Sometimes the present looked bright, sometimes romantic. There were tears in my eyes, and tears in my eyes. And so many little things that we learned were really the biggest things. Through it all, we saved and had a retirement plan, and someone who listened and helped us along the way. Because we always knew that someday the future would be the present.
Every someday needs a plan. Talk with us about your retirement today.
Graham, what is the situation in Paris today?
Well, the city is recovering from the shock of Friday's evening's attacks, and France is just finishing 3 days of official mourning. But the implications are severe. Although it appears now that the attacks were planned in Brussels, a number of the attackers were French nationals. And it is known that a considerable number of French nationals have been radicalized and gone to join radical groups in Syria and Iraq. It does also appear that at least one of the killers may have arrived in among the refugees coming from Turkey into Greece. And this is going to pose an additional challenge to managing the migrant crisis, which, although it's dropped out of the news cycle, has not gone away. Also, the French are going to have to rethink the trade-off between their privacy and their security, and particularly their objection to security cameras. However, the best description of the mood in France, I think, is shocked but unbowed. On Saturday, I attended a lunch in a brasserie in the centre of Paris, which was the JP Morgan Paris retirees group. The attitude of the attendees, many of whom are quite elderly now, and had come into Paris from the outside, from the suburbs and further afield for the lunch, was that they were going to continue their life much as normal and show these people they cannot be intimidated by a bunch of murderous thugs. And I think this is best illustrated by the fans' behaviour when they were leaving the stadium Friday night after there'd been 3 suicide bombs up at Stade de France. So Jane, life will go on. Not quite as before, but as normal as possible.
In that spirit, how have the European markets reacted today?
Well, all the European markets had already closed off on Friday, losing 2 to 3% from the previous couple of weeks' gains. So they opened this morning initially in the red and then swung into the green, and all the markets have been positive since then. Although travel and tourism sectors, not surprisingly, have taken a hit. The financial markets, of course, are notoriously unsentimental when it comes to human tragedy. Many of the analysts say that the economic impact will be short. As horrific as these events are, and this is truly awful, and economic activity does tend to be pretty resilient, said Howard Archer at IHS Global Insight in the UK. At the end of the day, people have to get on with their lives. The public nature of the targets and the randomness is definitely going to make people hesitant to be for tourism, and a decline in tourism, possibly a weaker euro, could be the output of this. The attacks could hurt major airlines, not only in Europe but in the US and in Asia, where of course a lot of the tourists come from, hotel chains, luxury goods stores, etc. Sam Stovall, the US equity strategist at S&P Capital, said that the US stock market may well fall in the US and Europe, but it's going to be something which is not going to throw the economy into recession. Based on reactions to similar attacks in the past, Stovall expects stocks to recover in a week. On the other side, Jack Albin, chief investment strategist for BMO Private Bank, said the gold and safe haven currencies such as sterling, Swiss franc, Swedish krona may benefit and get stronger. We will have a better view tomorrow probably when the markets settle a bit.
Well, Graham, what are you looking at in the small cap world for us today?
Well, Jane, at the moment we have 4 IPOs scheduled this week in Europe, 3 in London, 2 in Amsterdam. We will see how these schedules hold with the reactions to the market movements, but at the moment they're positive. The first is in London. We have an AIM IPO, which is a company today, Filtronic PLC, which is a world leader in the design and manufacture of a broad range of customized RF, microwave, millimeter wave components and subsystems. Now that doesn't sound very sexy as the high-tech internet apps, but actually it's this technology that makes your phone and interconnections work. So without it, we wouldn't be going anywhere. This type of company really is the bedrock of the small cap engineering sector. Solid, steady, providing a product that's in demand. The company's products are used in wireless communications, point-to-point communications, adjacent defense and security sectors, etc. And its customers include leading international original equipment manufacturers, as well as a wide range of telephone, mobile network operators. The group actually has 2 operations, a broadband operation supporting OEM companies supplying what they call wireless backhaul, and wireless business, which supplies equipment to both operators in the industry, and they provide the underlying equipment to operators as well. We talked recently about the vulnerability of small caps to financial shocks. Earlier in 2015, the company reported a number of setbacks on both its wireless and broadband business. The revenues were delayed primarily due to customer order postponements, something we talked about before. As a result, the company had to set in train a series of cost-saving measures in the UK and overseas, and by June 2015 it announced it had managed to reduce its operating cost by about £2 million, and so it survived, and now it's moving forward. Filtronic's strategic objectives are to be the world-leading RF electronic subsystems company in the wireless infrastructure business, using its proprietary technology and engineering expertise. And through applying these competencies, it believes it can grow and prosper in that market. Not the most thrilling company we've ever reviewed, but an essential part of the modern infrastructure. There's a clear way forward, and we'll follow the IPO with progress. And this is Graham Brown in an unbowed Paris, and that is it for Small Cap Nation Europe today.
Big swings in valuation for some pharmas taking investors on a roller coaster. We'll have the list when Small Cap Nation continues.
Everyone works hard for a reason. Working together, we can help you prepare financially for when 2 becomes 3. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
You want to be the best investor you can be. You want to cut through the noise of an overwhelming amount of analysis. You want the insights that will help you decide which ideas to execute and which to leave behind. You want your trades executed in 1 second or less, guaranteed and routed with institutional quality technology. Look no further. Open an account and find more of the expertise you need to be a better investor.
When I got the phone call that we had received the grant, I held my breath.
To have a program like this is a big reward.
Being a Chase Mission Main Street grant recipient is a game changer.
One of the biggest surprises in starting a small business is the number of hours we should work for the first 20 years.
One of the great things about this grant is that it is going to let us invest in some additional inventories.
It's going to allow this business to go to the next level.
Being a recipient of this grant, we can't be thankful enough.
It's a dream come true, and I'm still in awe.
Pharma names in the oncology space are making headlines today, but we're also seeing double-digit percentage moves in other companies. What's behind the wild swings?
Jane, there are several names on my radar today. Clovis Oncology is down a whopping 65%. It's a bloodbath for the biopharma name. The FDA requested additional data for Clovis's lung cancer drug, rosiletinib. Now, the company plans to hand over the data, but the updated data has a significantly worse response rate than expected, and this could force a delay in the accelerated March 30th, 2016 deadline that the FDA had set for a marketing decision. They want to focus on confirmed responses to the drug among patients with non-small cell lung cancer. The interim data submitted by Clovis included a number of unconfirmed responses. Now today, Clovis's executive team told analysts that the company has known about the lower response rate for several weeks. And separately, Array Biopharma and Pierre Faber announced a collaboration to develop and commercialize Array's late-stage novel oncology products. Shares of Array are off over 1% on Monday. Array's 2 products are currently advancing in 3 global phase 3 trials for melanoma and ovarian cancer. Top-line results from a phase 3 study of binimtinib in patients with melanoma are anticipated before the end of 2015.
There's an interesting small-cap name in biotherapeutic drugs for animals. Shares are rallying this morning for NextVet. Now, what's on the horizon for the clinical stage company?
NextVet is a veterinary biologics developer. The company announced positive results from its safety and efficacy study of NV01. That is NextVet's anti-nerve growth factor, or NGF, monoclonal antibody therapy. It is in development for the control of pain associated with osteoarthritis in dogs. The study met its primary endpoint as agreed under protocol with the FDA and the Center for Veterinary Medicine.
Last but not least, what's behind today's gains for biopharma name Protalix?
Proteolix Biotherapeutics is up 3% on Monday. It announced that it held an end-of-phase 2 meeting with the FDA to discuss its proposed BLA plan for its drug PRX-102, and that is for the treatment of Fabry disease. Now, the official FDA meeting minutes show the FDA's acceptance of the company's path forward for a phase 3 clinical trial to support a full approval. Last week, Proteolix issued its quarterly earnings and beat consensus estimates.
From Splunk to Stern AG, we have the list of what experts are saying to buy, sell, and hold. The story next on Small Cap Nation.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So hat-trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
In buy-sell hold action today, Continental Building was rated a new buy at Stern AG. Simtech raised to a buy at B. Riley. Mercury Systems had its price target raised by Stern AG. A buy rating was reiterated on Tetra by Stern AG. Stern AG also lowered its earnings estimate for American Capital. And Splunk was rated a buy at Drexel Hamilton. Well, thanks for joining us for Small Cap Nation, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, check back for the latest news and research on smallcapnation.com, Facebook, and Twitter.